this is probably it. There's loads of science behind it that I'm guessing you weren't using because you just weren't aware of what's going on there. Okay, now here's the thing. We're not going to be steering this thing much. We don't need to steer it much. We just need it to launch. So what we're going to do... I'm pressing X, by the way, to automatically adjust the... there we go. The symmetry here. I'm gonna add 3 fins, and we're gonna offset them a little bit like this. Reason being is, just like throwing a dart, this thing is going to rotate, which is going to keep it going straight up without having to steer. Let's see, we don't need any battery on this thing. So let's check. This is the Kerbalism Mod. This is what adds a bunch of life support, radiation stats, the psychology of Kerbals. They will go nuts if they have too little living space, that kind of thing. It's amazing. But this is telling me that electricity-wise, this baby is going to last for about 8 minutes right now, and that is more than enough. Now, we are going to need a signal from Kerbin, from the KSC, the Space Center, to be able to control this baby. So I'm going to add a little basic antenna. Let's double check here. Now this antenna, very lightweight. It's already deployed, unlike the other Communitron. As you can see, the tolerance, which we now have on, is 50 G. So this one can tolerate a hell of a lot. 4,000 kilopascal, a major amount. Now this is a direct antenna. I don't understand these ratings exactly. I've seen clips on explaining this, but it just doesn't gel with me. But we have a level 1 deep space network, which is 31.6 million miles, or a millimeter, not millimeter, megameter, millions of meters. That's what I'm thinking of. So that is going to be fine. Now we need some science. These are the 2 science packs we have. They weigh the same amount, so we will balance them out opposite each other. It's not that precise, you know. If you look at the center of mass we have over here, see that it shifts just a tiny bit when we add this thing. It's such a tiny amount you can hardly see it. We'll keep it across from each other anyway, and this is the Kerbal Engineer in-flight thing. It has a little bit of mass, but basically it's pretty easy. It's on the there we go. Pretty easy on the weight size of it. This is what we need to give us lovely, lovely overviews in a moment. You'll see when we start launching. There's no utility that we have yet. Ground construction. I think that's USI. That's new. No containers. Colonization. Okay, that's also USI. Logistics, manufacturing. That is all new to me. So, what we have right now is a cheap little dart. It's fairly light for a rocket. Has a huge amount of ISP. That's good. Here's the thing, the thrust to weight ratio is 11.38. We're doing this on Kerbin, and you can see how this changes on different altitudes. You can even check that out. So you can notice, for instance, that the ISP increases when we go higher. The thrust that it actually delivers goes from 162 to 192 at higher altitudes. And of course it changes. You can see what changes on different Machs, different speeds. Right now, this is way too much, 11.38. Basically, 1 thrust to weight means that you have as much thrust as you have weight on that thing. So that basically, that would leave you weightless, because you're being pushed up and pulled down at the same amount. So, any number lower than 1 means you can't get off the ground. 11 means you're gonna shoot off the ground and probably burn in orbit. So we're gonna adjust this downwards to 1.7. That sounds good. By the way, this is not normal. I have a tweak mod which allows me to adjust the size of things. I just like it. The quality here, that's also not normal. That is part of the Kerbalism mod, because the Kerbalism mod adds the chance for failures. Where is that? Radiation, reliability, there we go, malfunctions. So notice how if I go to high quality, the number of malfunctions is 0.29 per year. And if I don't, 0.38 per year. Basically the idea is the more high-tech stuff you put in there, the more things might fail. Okay, you know what? Let's call this X1 the Dart. Let's just fire this baby. Jix's issue was mostly not being able to figure out how to efficiently build rockets. He used the engineer, which did help massively with getting to orbit, getting into specific orbits, but landing on the moon, all that stuff, you could never get enough fuel. Oh, that is something we will definitely deal with. Don't you worry. Here's a cool thing. So, Science has a Science Here and Now button, and that one is amazing because you can immediately do temperature scan right there without having to click all the individual parts. Temperature reading spiked suddenly. Did somebody start the engines? Pressure scan. Which control checks the readings against the local weather report to calibrate the barometer. Perfect. We have these in, and they are now in our data. Here's a problem. This data is going to get lost. For the simple reason that we don't have a parachute in this thing. We haven't unlocked parachutes yet. So we're just going to do this as a sounding rocket. Do another temperature scan. The atmospheric drag causes a measurable increase in temperature. And 100 to million pascals. That can't be right. Now, as advertised, this thing is rotating because the fin's being offset slightly. And the thruster weight is doing its job. About 1,000 meters per second delta V. This thing might go quite high. Oh, apparently there's an update to this mod. I want to move this thing around a little bit. Unlock position and size. There we go. Let's move this baby there. Lock position, size, perfect. Because I want to see the connections we have here. What's up with the mic cam? Is it... oh! Yeah, that is the green screen. I need to turn on a light or two. Green screen bugging out. Give me a second. Watch this thing get destroyed. Things the old-fashioned way, adding a lamp. That should fix one of their problems. Ah, there we go. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, this baby is going to be dead meat. Oh yeah, notice that lovely spin. This is the Kraken in a lower scale. The more weird parts you have, the more things go wrong. Oh man, some parts survived. Go back to the Space Center. Okay, we finished a few goals. There we go. We have recent accomplishments. World first. We have launched our first vessel. It's broken a speed record of 25 meters a second, 500 meters, 80 meters a second, 2000. This is basically just free money and a little bit of science. We have launched our first vessel. Lovely. Got some money, got some science. And achieved goal complete. We launched our first vessel. Thank you so much. Now already we're getting more missions available, as you can see. A bunch of part tests, which are pretty good to start out with. Particularly since you can do just easy things like this. Just test a model. Okay. Gathering scientific data is going to be very easy. Escaping the atmosphere is a little bit trickier. But you can already see that... thank you, fashionably bad. You can already see that some of these will interact quite nicely. Like, test a RoveMax model, land at a Kerbin, and test a rover deployment. Those two can coincide quite nicely. And these things are usually be in flight above. Those are pretty tricky. Be in flight below, that's fairly easy to do. Above 16,700 meters, these are basically missions. Let's see, the tracking station, where you need to go to a certain spot. Yes, I know how to use things, thank you. As you can see, this Africa-looking continent, this is where the space center is, and we'd have to be above, below, above. Below seems most realistic right now. But yeah, that's the type of things we might look at right now. Since we have 10 signs, and I don't know about this new science we have, 4 and 12. Let's see what's available and what we can get and what we can make from that. So, for 12, if we hold out a little bit, we could get more signs, a magnetometer, those columns, some winglets, reaction wheels, our first real engine, that's good. Because I don't think... see, we just got a solid booster from that one. A bigger booster, some fuel tanks, a whole bunch of them in one, that's excellent. Separators, that'll allow us to get to orbit already. Container tank cluster. That sounds pretty cool. So this will allow us to get to space, pretty much. If we already have a decoupler, we can build a few phases. The radial decoupler is the only thing that would really give us another advantage. Now this one gives us pressure control. Okay, that's good. That's part of Kerbalism, by the way. Not all pods are pressurized right away. Let's see, this is for science below water. Geiger counter, that's a little bit more science, but it's not going to get that much extra use out of it. This is basically allows us to make a rover, gets a bunch of batteries, some more science. Let's see what we do with this. Let's see what missions we have available again. Now, these require us to make a plane. I don't think we even have parts yet to make a plane. Aerodynamics. Yeah, we don't even have wings, so nowhere we're gonna make a plane. The ones above this distance, we might be able to do, because we can do that with a rocket, but let's not. Scientific data from Kerbin, that we can easily do. Gives us 1 science, not enough for the 12, but we need that for these other 2. This one though, this we can combine. See, test a RoveMax model, gives us 1 science, and we can test that and get scientific data. Let's do these at the same time. Made an okay point about how a RoveMax model M1 is better than all the others. Now apparently we ended up raising more questions than answers, and that's where you come in. Test a RoveMax. This gives us a super easy pair of missions to complete. RoveMax. That's this one, right? Yeah. So, we simply make a teeny tiny rover. Do we have any structural parts? don't really have any structural parts. I guess we can maybe fiddle something together, because these wheels are pretty big. Let's see. Gonna need, actually, here's gonna be a problem. What's gonna be the front? I have to put this thing down like this, because the front is that direction, I think. Let's see if we can... I'm always confused by these things. There we go. Do we need to change your symmetry? Mirrored symmetry. Mirror round vessel. No, you know what? We're just gonna make it like this then. Because otherwise we'd have to go into the flight bay, I think. There we go. We're gonna make it like this. Shift these forward a little bit. Ah, it's still in symmetry. Hold on. Can we... Hold on. Symmetry around parent part? Does that work out? I don't think it would. It's still the same thing, isn't it? It's still the same thing. Okay. I'm not gonna save. We're gonna do this in the flight control. I think that'll get us a better rover. Mr. Nyland, good to have you in here. How are you doing? And Mighty Sid, you have to go visit a friend. Hey, that sounds like fun. Have a good evening. Thank you so much for logging in. Let's see. Don't think I had any useful things I could use to basically just pad this. Nope. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do this. It's going to be a fat man. So this has radial symmetry, which works a little bit better to... There we go. Works a little bit better to organize these things. The only question is, holding down Alt to copy this, will we be able to get the wheels in some kind of sensible position here? You know what? We can actually just we could just copy. No, couldn't we? Let's just do this. This is the most ridiculously wasteful option, but it's also fairly easy. That gives us a nice little rover. I'm a little bit concerned about the height of those wheels, though. Let's... There we go. Let's see if we can offset these by like 2 steps. That looks good. Hey, Vin! What ho there? Good snob. Nice to have you back in here. You are joining us pretty much at the start of this stream. We are just going out and designing some a miniature weird rover to get us basic science. You know what? I want this to... There we go. It'd be like a happy little tail upwards, like it's a little fat doggy. There we go. We don't have any other parts that we can use. We've got all the signs that we need. We can transmit things. We have power. I could put a nose cone on it, but just doesn't seem to make any sense. Okay. Fat doggy. Rover Mark 1. Fat doggy. There we go. Save that baby. Wait. Jexus dubs it the Grasshopper Hopper V1. There we go. Jexus dubs it the Grasshopper V1. Basic science, the best kind of science, isn't it just? Exactly. Be honest, who doesn't do that to their pets? Like, oh, who's a fat little pet? Who's just a stupid little pet? Storm fronts, perfect day for flight. Excellent. Now, the missions we have, we need to test the Rove Max model, which is done by running a test. There we go, that's done. And we need to gather scientific data from Kerbin. Now, that's only going to activate once we return with our data. Let's see. Let's get some surface info. And I'm going to leave this open because we need to keep an eye on the electric charge. Now, here's the downside. Because we use basic flight controls, the directions are inverted because I have the joystick. So I pull up to go forward with this. So we're going to need the steering to be inverted, the motor direction to be inverted on both of these. That allows me, there we go, to have right as right and forward as forward. And that works. Now we're gonna also turn on X signs here and now, because you see we're now at the runway, the shores, and I get this message that we are now normally at the shores. Which you can let us know what you're still doing there. Hey, look, we're just getting signs. Barometer reads low pressure. According to weather station, that means a higher chance of rain. So we're gonna go, since we're on the shore, we're gonna get a quick drive over to other places. And you can see every time I use the engine, every time I use these wheels, the electric charge goes down. So we need to make it with what we have. There we go, that is a SPH in the shores. I'm doing this quickly because I don't want to miss out on these bits of signs. So yeah, this is the cheap way you get signs at the start of KSP. There's some mods that basically nerf this, and because you can get a surprising amount. Spontaneous combustion years of rocket fuel soaking into it, and the temperature spikes. As far as finding a normal reading here, probably the only thing that is normal here. This is some of the criticism that people have, that you can get so much science just by not leaving Kerbin at all. It would be Kerbin Aeroflight. Crawlerway is a new one. I didn't know that this was a biome. But yeah, you can get so much science by not leaving Kerbin. It's weird. It's pretty low right now since Crawl is not actively driving over the instrument. Not for long, though. Let's go to the, there we go, the space for liftoff. Rainen, that's annoying. I can't see those emotes. Not in the program I'm using. Oh, there we go. We are now at the launch pad. Temperature reading spikes suddenly. Somebody start the engines? We already had these. A weapon report to calibrate the barometer, so that is good. Not quite sure what this is. It looks like... Oh, it's a little bunker to check out the actual launches. That is amazing. I think the last thing we can do is probably drive this baby into the water and get a little bit more signs. One more temperature, one more barometer. I think that's about the... there's probably a bunch more biomes, I'm suddenly realizing, all around those buildings. Best way to advance our technology. Drive around in cars! Exactly, Venom, exactly. So, what should we do for our space program? Yeah, I don't know, just take a drive around, it'll be okay. The likely to give you loads of science is a tedious thing to do, prevent you from doing what you want to do, go to space. Oh, Jexus, vanilla KSP, you can go to the Mun like right from the start. Fair enough, that's a difficult challenge. Made a little bit more difficult with the recent releases. But if you really know what you're doing, you can land on the Mun pretty much right away. I think there's been Reddit challenges doing that. Although that might have been before the rebalance, though. Kerbal Hyperspace Mod. Those exist. The Astrogation Mod. Nice. Okay, we need to slow down a little bit so we don't destroy this rover. But I actually really like this. In the vanilla game, you couldn't build rovers until you were pretty far into the actual tech tree, which to me seems weird. Why would you first have all the capabilities of landing on another moon, yet you haven't figured out how to build cars yet? It's strange. Do I stream KSP often? This is in fact the first time I have. Ooh, the shores. Hold on. Break. Just right temperature to go for a swim. Nice. Date from Byronic to catch a storm in the next few hours. Well, if you see the shipwreck, hope it's not yours. Yeah, no, before I streamed a bunch of The Witcher, streamed some Tomb Raider, that kind of thing. I was going to stream Mass Effect, but I actually took a break for a month or month and a half, 2 months maybe? I don't know. A while. A pretty long while. And I don't know, I've been thinking about it and just basically a while back I was realizing I'm playing a whole lot of Kerbal and I'm really enjoying it. Why not just stream Kerbal? So I'm planning on streaming this during the weekends basically. There we go, we are splashed down at the shores. Engineers hadn't planned this water, so the numbers have all washed off the thermometer, making it unreadable. No. I keep talking about a storm, that is slightly disconcerting. So now of course we have the problem that wheels don't work in water, so this is the last we can use this. Recover the vessel! And give us all that glorious science. Everything's meh at the moment? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Joe. What's going on? Oh, as you can see, 15 science extra. We have massively increased our science. I mean, 15 science, that's not that much, but it does the job. So we have gathered scientific data from Kerbin. We have another 2 goals, and we have splashed into the ocean. We performed the first of our experiments at home. Gives us a bunch of cash, a bunch of science. Let's start spending some of that science. Because, obviously, I want basic rocketry. This will help us go out and about quite quickly. Let's learn that. Now, for stability, that is a bunch of wings. Okay. Tail connectors. Ah, perfect. The first fairing already. That is awesome to get that so soon. This is for research. Circular intakes, that's good. Winglets. Cockpit already. Basic jet engines, Junos, the starting ones. This doesn't give us that much to go on, but I think we can build an airplane from this. General rocketry. Costs more, but gets us tiny engines, good for probes and so on. Tiny fuel tank, excellent. Radial decoupler, we can really use that. And Separatrons is good. This is gonna make going to space real easy. Uthor! Good to see you again! Cool to hear you into the streamer often. Stream what you like, that's the most important thing. That's what I thought, Vaden. I was thinking about a lot of things, like what do I want to do? I'm still interested in playing Longest Journey and that kind of thing, but I was just kind of burned out on story-wise what we could do with games. What year is this?